Good afternoon. Hope I'm catching people at a good time today. I'm Gail Anderson, and this is Mentoring Moments for Moms. Thanks for joining us. Man, it's a beautiful summer day, lots going on, but I wanted to make sure I touch base with you. Good afternoon, Tamra. Hi, Saliji. Like to see you. Hey. Couple of business type related things. I did scope on Tuesday this week. And I'm not sure if many of you have followed that or not, but I scoped with Lizzie Loves Health, that's Elizabeth Enzer, and we actually did kind of a joint discussion on having individual discipleship time with each of your children. And that's, oh great, bet you loved it. That is a weekly thing that I did with my kids, and it was very, very effective in helping disciple them, helping them to be able to follow the things that I believed and I hoped that they would do in their own lives. So it was a really cool scope. You can either go to Periscope and look under Lizzie Loves Health, and she will have it there. Otherwise, if you'll check out my YouTube site, Mentoring Moments for Moms, the link is in the profile. Thank you, my Periscarf. If you go to my YouTube, I've already uploaded that video. It's a little bit long, but very good. And there's some resources listed on there. So I hope you'll check that out. It was a really cool one. And I loved doing it with Lizzie. Man, she is such an on fire, power-filled girl. It's just amazing. So if you guys want to share this scope today, go ahead and swipe to the right. You can share it with your followers, share it on Twitter, or if you like what I'm talking about too, tap on the screen, give me some hearts. Yes, we all love Lizzie and love her scopes. Absolutely. Hi, Abounding Hope. Good to see you today. Okay, so great resources on that scope as well. Now, today, as you've already seen what my title is, I want to talk a little bit about speaking well of your husband. Now, I'm guilty of this just like everybody else. But you know, when I was going through the top 10 things that I would do again as a mom, I'm so adamant about speaking well to your kids and about them. And I've always been very geared into kids. But you know what? We need to be doing that exact same thing for our husbands. Often in life, we tend to see the negative, not the positive, right? We automatically point out and notice the things that are wrong instead of what's right. So it is a habit that we have to get ourselves into. And today I just want to talk about doing that for your husband. I think as women that we have more of a habit of sitting down when we get together and even complaining. I hate to even say that, but we do. Or we hear about somebody else's husband who does this and our husband doesn't, and we're thinking, oh my goodness, my husband should do that. And then we start focusing on what he doesn't do. Well, as I said with kids, if we speak that, even if they're not around, we're going to believe it. It's in our head, it's going to be in our heart if we're not careful, and that's the way we're going to treat them, with disappointment, with disrespect, and with expectations that they probably cannot meet. And one of the worst things you can have in a marriage is expectations of your spouse that they either cannot meet, aren't willing to meet, or it just never occurs to them. They just don't know. So us setting up expectations of things that they have to be is wrong. That's a whole nother scope. Okay, so the other thing is, if they hear us saying those things about them, those words go into their heart, and that's how they're going to respond to us. Now, yeah, I hate to compare this with kids, but it is true. Yes, unrealistic expectations. Yes, I do need to do a scope on that. I got to put that on my list. I have such a list, getting such great ideas from all of you of things you'd like to hear talked about. And I love just getting on and just taking short amounts of time and just discussing that stuff. It's just great to hear the things you want to hear. So be careful. The things that you speak to your husband and about him, you are going to believe, and he's going to eventually believe too. And he can only rise up to the level that you have him at. Wow, ladies, as wives, this is an awesome responsibility. If we want them to be able to succeed, if we want them to be able to rise in life and on the job and as a father, then we've got to see them that way. Yes, it's very hard. And I know I constantly have to make it a matter of prayer, constantly remind myself. I'm one of those people who sometimes I speak and then think about what I said. Not good. But it happens to all of us. We get caught up in things. So what I want to stress to you is that it's a choice. When we have a thought that comes to our head, we can either choose to speak it or we can keep our lips closed. That in itself will help alleviate a lot of this. If it comes to your head and you judge it and it's not a good thing, then we throw it out, especially after an argument. Oh, it's so hard. When you speak it, it gives life to those words. And so that's why we have to be very careful about the words that we do speak. Instead, what we want to speak is what we want them to be, what we know God wants them to be, and what we want to see them be in the future. Just like we talked about with kids. We need to speak those words. I love taking part of my prayer time in the morning and just having a list of confessions about my husband, about his work, about how he treats me. And it's so important that I say those to myself and hear myself saying that, because it changes the way that I treat my husband. So we can choose whether we're going to speak those words out of our mouth or whether we're going to just throw that thought from our head. And you know, if we're praying too, we need to remember that according to Philippians 1:3, God will perfect. The one who started that work will perfect it, will complete it. And that's what we have to believe. None of us are perfect. All of us have our faults. And what if our husbands did not believe in us? What if they didn't have faith that we could be better, that we could be different, that we could be that wife that they wanted? We would hate that and feel like, why are we even married? But we have to do the same thing with them. And we can take the first step. Can you imagine your husband overhearing you talking about him and how he excels on the job? Wow, he's just going to stand a little straighter. I needed to hear this today. Hey, we all do. We all need the reminder. This is not something that I don't think any woman has down. It's something that is common. Not natural, but common. So anyway, I just believe that you can do things that way, and there are benefits to doing that. Your husband, of course, wants to bend over backwards when he hears you praising him. He wants to bend over backwards fixing things around the house for you, or buying you things, or just taking care of your needs, because he knows you value him, you respect him, you appreciate him, and that is essential in a marriage. So, so essential. So, make sure you're sitting and stopping and praying before you speak, thinking about those words over your husbands as well as your kids. Couple reminders I want to give you. If you are in the Tulsa area, I am doing a class on discovering essential oils at my home. Yay, I finally have a place big enough to host some people. You can email me. I can give you a link to register for that class because I do have limited space. That's this Sunday at 3. Also, if you're interested in essential oils, want to get some basic information, I have a Facebook class, and that is next Tuesday night. Now, you don't have to be on it live. You can view it anytime. Again, just email me. I'll send you an invite so that you can have access to that class. I would love to be able to share. And tomorrow my plan is to tell you one of my, what I call my simple living tips, and that is to make do-it-yourself cleaners. And I have to tell you, my husband bugged me for years to do this. But no, I wouldn't. Nothing could get my house as clean as all the super high-powered toxic cleaners. So I've been delivered from that, and I want to share with you women because I'm actually saving money and I'm taking the toxins out of my home. So it's really cool. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, ladies. It's good to see you, and I hope to connect with you soon.